So we still don't have any ruling out of the Seventh Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals here on the case against Illinois' gun and magazine ban. That you have plaintiffs groups from the Southern District and the Northern District filing claims saying that the state's gun and magazine ban violates the Second Amendment. This is a case that started just a few weeks after Governor J.B. Pritzker here in Illinois enacted the Protect Illinois Communities Act. That's the name of the law that defined certain semi-automatic firearms as assault weapons and also banned capacities of magazines over 15 for handguns and over 10 for rifles. But also some shotguns caught up in this list, 170 some odd different firearms with different definitions for what a, quote, assault weapon is. So you had cases filed in the Southern District where they got an injunction, but in the Northern District, multiple cases where the judges up in the northern part of the state sided with the state's gun and magazine ban, but also local gun and magazine bans. So that's been in the Seventh Circuit U.S. Court of Appeals for months. They heard that on June 29th. So still nothing there. Also, still nothing out of the Southern District from the Thomas Mag challenge on the law on vagueness grounds. So again, the Seventh Circuit has the challenge on Second Amendment grounds. Thomas Mag brought it back down to the Southern District Federal Court. Not the appeals court, but the district court underneath the appeals court. And he says, okay, while they're dealing with the Second Amendment issues, I want to focus on that vagueness issue. So that's still pending as well in Judge Stephen McGlynn's Southern District Court. You have another case that Stephen McGlynn also oversaw, and it's part of the gun and magazine ban challenge, and this is from the Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois. There was a filing yesterday in the docket, but it was merely just to announce that the state is bringing on Catherine Hunt Muse to be the attorney for the state on all defendants. So that was a filing yesterday in that FFL case against the state's gun and magazine ban. And that was back in the Southern District because you have the FFL that are part of this consolidated case still pending in the Second Amendment challenge up in the Seventh Circuit. But in the Southern District, the FFL group brought a new update saying we want to challenge now. We want to amend our challenge to go after the state's gun registry, which opened October 1st. So we've had a month now of that being in place, and we'll definitely be checking on some of the latest ISP statistics. But FFL of Illinois, Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois, they have essentially asked for the states to, halt the registration. So I think we do have some latest numbers here. Let me double check this. I think 2,430. So let's go ahead and pull this up. This is the Illinois State Police statistics. 2,430 numbers of individuals completing a disclosure. Total disclosures, 7,067. Firearm disclosures, 4,500. Accessory disclosures, 2,431. And ammunition disclosures, 44. So I think that is an update from the last week totals. So we'll have to see what that percentage is. But, considering last week was just over 2,000 and it didn't really broach 0.08%, I'm going to guess that adding on another 400 or so really isn't going to make that much greater. So maybe it's 0.09%. So yeah, the gun ban registry has people still registering, and clearly you've got the questions about just how much compliance there is. We'll get a question into Illinois State Police, but keep in mind that they have the hearings coming up. But Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois, they do have the challenge back in the Southern District. They want to try to halt the registry or delay implementation of the registry while the gun and magazine ban challenge continues. But let's talk about those hearings coming up this week. You've got the Illinois State Rifle Association, the Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois, and several other groups and individuals looking to testify. And they put out this joint statement yesterday. They said that recently the Illinois State Police have announced 3 public hearings to explain the registration scheme of the recent enacted so-called assault weapons ban. The 3 upcoming public hearings on the incredibly vague administrative rules surrounding Governor Pritzker's unconstitutional firearms ban and registration scheme will give Second Amendment rights advocates another opportunity to show these rules do not align with recently decided court cases or even the legislative intent that was expressed during debate. Continues on, the statement from this, gun rights groups, ISRA, Todd Vandermeid's Freedom Steel in there, Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois, and Illinois Federation for Outdoor Resources. putting out the statement saying the rules proposed are so confusing and vague that the ISRA and other groups listed have received hundreds of phone calls weekly from firearm owners trying to make sense of the documents and explanations put forth by Illinois State Police. For these reasons, the ISRA, in conjunction with Illinois Federation for Outdoor Resources, Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois, Freedom Steel, and others, will be testifying at all 3 public hearings on these rules. It's our intent to get the Illinois State Police on record answering our detailed questions on specific cases where we think that the law is extremely vague and potentially will make criminals out of law-abiding citizens. We strongly encourage firearms owners from around the state to peacefully attend the meetings in person and to demonstrate support for our organizations and opposition to this attempt at criminalizing legal gun ownership. The hearings are scheduled for Thursday, November 2nd. So that's going to be here in Springfield. And the committee room we've talked about a committee room that only has about 100 seats. Actually, one source told me they actually had about fewer than that, really. And the question of whether or not you're going to have overflow and capacity, that's an important question. I don't think it's been quite yet answered. But Thursday, November 2nd, 9:30 in the morning. And some of you have already shared that you're frustrated by that because you got to work. You have to work. 9:30 in the morning, it's going to be difficult for you to make one of these meetings. All 3 of them are at 9:30 in the morning. Thursday, November 2nd in Springfield at the Capitol Complex in the Stratton Building. Room D1. Only about 80 public chairs there. I imagine it'll be standing room if people do show up. Friday, November 3rd up in Chicago. So Friday, that'll be 9:30 in the morning. And then again, Monday down in Caseyville at 9:30 in the morning, you have another chance, and that's in the Metro East area. So 3 chances for you to go and have your voice heard. Of course, the variety of groups from the Illinois State Rifle Association to Illinois Federal Firearms Licensees of Illinois going to be discussing the registration, discussing the questions about what is or is not an attachment, and really just highlighting the ongoing court cases where there are indeed questions about the legality of all of this. So a lot to be said about those hearings coming up in very short order. We'll talk more about that in the days ahead. But again, some of the latest statistics that I'm pretty sure this is an update from last week. I don't know. Does anybody in the chat room can you confirm that? Just trying to rack my brain because the first week was like. I'm pretty sure these are updated numbers because the first week it was 1,050 individuals who completed a disclosure. Second week, I want to say it was 16 something, like 1658, 1,658. Then the third week was just over 2,000. So here we've got 2,430. I'm pretty certain these are fresh numbers just from this morning. See, that's why you tune in here with Bishop on Air every weekday morning where we'll get the latest out for you on all of these issues and more. So breaking here live. If you're watching live, again, you could do it every weekday morning. 7:30ish, 7:40ish is when I decide to go live. Depends on if I'm going to throw on a Halloween costume or not. But let's see if we can pull that off again. Yeah, there you go. So it's, it's Halloween, of course, and I'm just giving some love to the fans out there. All right. Anyways, moving on now. Interesting story out of Gun Save Life. If you're not familiar with John Bach's organization, they do a print publication and events across the state, and they discuss gun rights and the Second Amendment. And they've got this article here that was published yesterday, and I want to pull this up for you because it goes into a recent buyback program that the Bloomington police had. And just to go into some of what was written here, talks about how there was a long line already, and it was $50,000 in a grant they got from the state of Illinois to essentially buy back firearms, and some people saw it as a way to get some quick cash. So they burned through $50,000 from the state of Illinois, about 30 cars into the line. And again, the line was reportedly, a mile, 2 miles long, waiting to get inside that location. So this was, again, 10 a.m. start time, Bloomington, Illinois. And if you go to gunsavelife.com, you'll be able to read more about this. But they were paying about, $200 for conventional guns, $400 for, quote, ghost guns, and $500 for so-called assault weapons. And Gun Save Life says, given they used the definition in the Protect Illinois Communities Act, getting $500 proved rather easy. A lady didn't need an AR to collect 5 bills. 22 with a threaded muzzle or a barreled shroud would do just that. So interesting. So they spent $500 for AR-15 type models, or even anything that would be considered a quote assault weapon. So people walking away with cash money there. And do gun buyback programs really work? You can clearly find a whole host of criticism about gun buyback programs and how they just aren't really doing the job of getting firearms off the streets that are the root of a lot of the violent crime out there, gang violence. I mean, the shootings that happen regularly in Chicago and other large cities, in certain neighborhoods of those cities, and the tragedies that occur. Do gun buyback programs really do that, or is it really just, the savvy people saying, hey, they're going to be giving me $500 for a quote ghost gun, which is just a homemade firearm that doesn't have a serial number? Then I guess grab the money while it's there, right? So interesting to see some of that reported by Gun Save Life. Go read that whole thing. It's pretty incredible, including the pictures they have there. All right, we got plenty more to get to. I'm Greg Bishop. Be sure to tune in weekday mornings right here with YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. All of it. You can find me anywhere. Just search Bishop on Air on social media, and we can connect that way. So a lot to get to each and every weekday morning. We'll see you right here, all right? Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and check in each and every morning.